All right, here we are today to try and fix another problem. This actually is a pretty cool piece. This is a rocking love seat, but it has power recline in it. So the issue that we have on this one is that we can't figure out why it's not working, right? So here you can see, I don't know if you can see down here, that the light is coming on, but it's not working. So we have three options in this one. This just has power recline. There's no power headrest. So just simple thing: power supply, button control, and a motor. That's it. Those are the only things. And I actually have all three replacements. So a lot of times when I actually we go out to jobs, we recommend all these pieces because unfortunately it's an iterative process. We don't necessarily know with the silver bullet which one it is. And so sometimes it's just replace one thing, see if that works. If that didn't, try the next thing, and on and on. If you don't like to do that, you just want to replace them all or have backup parts for it, it's not a bad idea. You can do them all. We sell all the parts for them. We can gladly help you with it, with whatever you need. So this is the motor. I know because I've already looked at it on the other side. I'll show you how to find that out so you can know what motor it is that you would need. This is a replacement button control. Just has a little vanity cover, 2 screws in there. So we can replace this, a simple little plug. It's going to plug right here into the motor. And then we have a power supply, which the power supply plugs into the wall. And then it just has a little 2-prong connection that will plug into the motor. So those are the only things that could be wrong with this piece. We are going to flip it up on its face and see what the problem is. Okay, so we're gonna just simply push this up here. And if you have 2 people, it's nice. If you don't, you can definitely do it with 1 person. I'm not the strongest person out there and I just did it, so look at that. Okay, so now we're gonna talk about what we got going on under here. So this right here is the motor that I was talking to you about. And you can see from this little label right here, tells us what the motor is. Now, it doesn't always have to be the exact, I mean, it does need to be the exact components and dimensions, but sometimes there's different companies that make a similar motor. But the easiest thing is find that label, let us know what it is, take a picture of what it is. Now, important thing about this motor here is this is 2 clevis pins. Some motors will have bolts on one side, some will only have 1 clevis pin, and then they'll have a connection right here on the side. So clevis pin actually is the easiest because it's pull out a roux pin, stick the clevis pin in and out, makes it really easy. So we're going to show you how to do that and how to fix it. That's where we're going to go from there. Now, if we want to, let's talk about the button control for just a moment because that's the other piece. So if we do need to replace the button control, we're just going to pop this cover off. Now I just did it with my fingers. Some of them are really loose, some of them are tighter, but if you get like a little screwdriver, a flathead, you can pop right off, 2 screws right here, and that whole button's going to come off, slides right out, and comes here on the inside. I'll show you. Got to get it on the right way. That helps. So this one just has the USB right there, so you have to make sure it's there. But come on here on the inside, and we'll show you where this button comes through. Sometimes folks will ask us, hey, can I just pull this little white cord out and just replace the cabling? No, you can't. The only way that we sell the button is complete. Just like this one here. We have the cable here, but the button is here. So it's safer anyway to replace the whole button and the cable. That way you can fix all your issues. Sometimes if you just replace the cable, the issue could be in the button and you haven't really fixed it. So it all comes together anyway. Just order a new button, get it fixed. So this one has 2 screws here. So we're going to take a 5/16 here because in order to get these cables, we got to take that out. And we want to keep them, and we do want to put these back because this is what we call cable management. Keeps the cables up out of the reclining mechanism. What we have here in the first one is, you'll see from here on this motor that's not working, is we have the 5-pin connection that came from the button control. So we're going to unplug that. And then on this side, what we have is we have that power connection we talked about, this 2-pin connection. Now the motor is completely done, and now we can take the motor out. So you come down here, probably get a little bit better angle. We're going to take these 2 clevis pins out and get it out. So this is a roux pin. I'd maybe come film from this side right here. The roux pin, sometimes it's tricky. We have a whole video actually on how to take out a roux pin. So if for some reason you just are going to fold that down, the roux pin just holds it in like that so it doesn't jiggle and come out. But if you fold it down and slide it out, that's how it comes out. So keep that roux pin because you're going to need it to put the new motor back in. We're going to pop this one out while we're here. And the thing about the roux pin is you got to know which side you're going to first. So now we're free find it probably easier. Like I said, I don't know if you noticed that if you scoot back a little, if you're finding that it's hard to get it out, it's because there's tension, because this is all being held in here. So I just pushed that in a little bit to remove some of the tension and got that fixed. You'll want to take note as I'm taking this out. The motor's at the top, right? So motor's at the top, label out toward me. So as I replace this motor, take this guy out, and we're just going to put the new guy in. I'm just going to root pin this guy here while I'm here so that I don't have it jiggle out on me. I don't want that to happen. But there's like kind of a black piece in here that makes it so you got to line this thing up. There's just a little Allen wrench, but that's what's covering this black hole here. So I'm just going to give it a little turn. I'm having a little problem getting this in. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to cheat a little bit. So what I can do and cheat a little bit is I can plug this whole thing in. So back to how we were, and we'll plug it in and make sure it's working before I put those wire management pieces back in to keep it all together. So plug in the power. My 5-pin connection goes back in. We're good there. Come back over here. I'm going to show you what I did. If you can see that, come in here. So now I push the button just a little bit. I'm going to show it just again. See how it comes out? You can see it pushing again. But because I did that, I'm going to take it back to get the pressure off. It slides right in, right? So if you're having an issue, one good thing is we know we fixed it because now it's working. We didn't have to sit and fight with it, hammer it in or anything. So like I told you, very important to go back in, get your cables and your wires all figured out here and done. Maybe while I'm in here, I'll explain one quick thing that's going on. If you can see, there's 2 motors, right? Obviously a love seat has 2 chairs, so we have a motor on both sides. It's the exact same thing. But what you'll notice is power only comes in from the power supply one place. This has what's called a Y cable, right? So power comes in once and then it splits to give me power here on this side. And then it just splits across and runs across to this other side to give power there. And you can see that's the Y cable here. So this cable splits to give power both ways. Now, the reason that's important is that in a sofa or a love seat that has power both ways, you only need one power supply to send power to both sides. But what you can also do is if you're looking at putting in a battery, like a lot of times people will float, like this is a love seat, rocking love seat, they may want to float it in the middle of the room. You can put a battery and you can stick the battery right here underneath, and the battery will operate one side and it can operate the other. You can plug it into the Y so it operates both, but with the battery, if you put one on each side, you just have an increased longevity and you can get a lot more cycles out of it. Anyway, that's when you order power supply. Make sure that you have a Y cable so that you can get power to both sides. If you don't, we sell Y cables so we can, one power supply, if you're just plugging it into the wall, we get it to both sides, save you a little bit of money and use it that way. So now we're just gonna stick these back in real quick and put our chair all back together. Make sure that we are keeping the chair nice and safe so that we're not going to mess up any of these cables, and get this all tidied up, as we call it. Sometimes people skip this step. We do not recommend skipping it because they'll be calling us later, get some more cables or new power, new control panel, or heaven forbid, a new motor. The motor, unfortunately, is the most expensive part of all the things that we fix. But the good thing is everything can be fixed. There we go. All back to tidy. We're all good. And now we're gonna flip it up and make sure it works. Okay, so now that we got it flipped up on its side, plugged in again, what we wanna do is we just wanna check both motors, make sure that it's working. You can see on this guy, I'm working here. And then I just check the other side to make sure I didn't do anything silly and mess up the other side. We'll check it as well. And look at that. We are working. So a simple motor fix, we're back in business.